Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmadgurubhyo Namaha श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः श्रीमेधा दक्षिणामूर्तिस्वामिने नमः ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम Namaste once again all of you. So we are
Namaste, Guruji.
We are seeing the most important topic of law of karma. Okay, and in the last class, there was during this satsanga session, there was a question from one of the students. He talked about suicide, right? I mean, those of you who were present, and I gave an answer also. But on reflection, I was not fully satisfied with the answer I gave. So I thought that I need to elaborate that particular aspect because it's very important to understand how this law of karma operates in the context of the free will that we all have. Because this is one of the most one of the most important questions we need to understand. I mentioned that, that person who committed suicide has not used his free will, right? Actually, that was not fully correct. He has used his free will in a negative way to commit suicide. So what happens is, throughout the day, day in and day out, there is a constant fight between this karma, our karma, and the free will. It's literally a wrestling match which goes on. Every time we are faced with a circumstance or a situation based upon our past karmas, our free will comes into play. Either to just let it pass, in the sense accept that karma and suffer all the consequences, or fight that karma or reduce the effect of that karma by using our free will positively. So this constant wrestling match is going on between our free will and our karmas, always. Now, the only difference is, in a wrestling match, both the wrestlers can see each other. They can assess the strength of each other. They can also change their tactics depending upon how the other wrestler is actually fighting. But in this case, one of the wrestlers, the karma is invisible. The free will we can use, but we don't know we are using against what is the strength of that karma. So many times what happens is, even though we use the free will and all that, still the karma is so strong that any amount of free will we think we should use, it falls short. And that is what is called prabala prarabdha. Prabala prarabdha means it has got a super strength, that karma. And any degree of free will that we do, we use, it will fall short. So what happens in this fight? Sometimes the karma wins, sometimes the free will wins. So this fight goes on continuously against the whatever. And this is relating only to papa karmas. Punya karmas we don't need. When they come, they give us happy situations. So why free will? Enjoy the punya karma results, isn't it? This becomes relevant only in the case of papa karmas, that we have to bring in our free will to at least the fight the karma, and if not win it over, reduce its effect. So that is the context in which we need to understand this play between karma and free will. Okay. So I thought that I should clarify it, because there could be some doubts in some of the students' mind. So sometimes karma wins, sometimes free will wins. If the karma is very strong, very powerful, then because we don't know how much free will we must use. What is the strength of free will? We don't know the strength of karma. So that is the thing. But then what happens is, a jnani, and that's what we were discussing in the last class. What happens with a jnani is, he has surrendered his free will. Jnani has no ego. So he has totally, his free will he has surrendered. So whatever karma comes, he takes it that this karma, it has come, it is relating to my body-mind complex. It is not relating to me. I have actually disassociated myself from this body-mind-sense complex. Let this karma take its own course. With my body, with my mind and all that, let it run its own course. I am not going to be affected. I am asangaha. This is the state of the awareness which the jnani develops. So even though a jnani is also visited by these karmas, because I told you prarabdham will be there till the jnani's body it falls away. The prarabdham will be there. But the difference between a ajnani and a jnani is, an ajnani takes all these karmas as his own and then uses his free will to fight it, and in the process he suffers all miseries, sorrows, everything. Why me? All these questions come. I have been praying to the God all throughout my life. Why me? You have done it in this life. Good. Punya you have earned. That is agami. If you try to connect the current agami with the past prarabdha, wrong equation. I'll talk about it when we come to the corollaries, what we have to understand from the law of karma. So if you have done in this life certain good things and all, very well, that's good. But that is getting, accumulated, credited to your punya account. When they will arrive, they will mature, they will give you the result. You cannot, what you are now suffering is your prarabdha karma, previous janma karma. So this is how we have to understand this. So we said that regarding jnani, I think the last sentence we saw, sanchitam karma brahmaiva aham iti nischayatma jnanena nashyati. This is the last sentence I think we saw in the last class. So nischayatmaka jnanena, by total conviction, the knowledge gained with total conviction. What conviction? What knowledge? Brahmaiva evam aham asti. I am only Brahman. I am not this body mind complex. Sanchitam karma nashyati. So at the time when this knowledge is gained, this all sanchita karma, the past bundle of karma, are destroyed. Right. So unfructified karmas, all the gone. So in future, those karmas will not be there for the jnani. Sanchitam is gone. So it's just like, example is the radiation, it destroys all the cancerous cells. So like that, you can take example how it is destroyed. So Atma Jnanam has got the power to destroy the Sanchitam karmas. Then he continues, what about prarabdham? Prarabdham is exhausted. It has to be borne by a jnani also. Sanchitam is destroyed. Now the author says, what about agami karma? So he says, agami karma api jnanena nashyati kincha agami karmanam nalini dalagatava nalini Nalini Dala Gata Jalavat Jnaninam Sambandho Nasti. So he says that even Agami Karma, past Agami Karmas, that is the karmas which he has earned during this life till the time of Jnana, which are still there, they also, I told you at the time of Jnanam, get added to the Sanchitam karma, and the whole thing, is destroyed. So Agami karma api nashyati. Moreover, kincha, after Jnanam, the Jnani has got no connection with any karmas. And he gives the example. He says, Nalini Dala Gata Jalavat. So, like a drop of water which is there on a lotus petal, Nalini Dala, a lotus petal. So, what happens? Even though the water, you can see the water, the drop of water on the lotus petal, it will not stick to it. It will just go round and round and round, but the lotus petal will remain unaffected. Similarly, the jnani, all the karmas will be happening, but the jnani will not be affected by those karmas. Okay. So, agami karma api jnanena nashyati. So, this he says. Then he goes on to say what happens to those karmas of a jnani. Because karmas will produce punya papa. Even though jnani may not be affected by it, it is hanging somewhere, the punya and papa of the karmas, which the jnani does after jnana. What happens to that? Interesting. Of course, this is more from a point of view of glorification of a jnani. We should not take it literally rather. Okay. He says, Kincha ye jnaninam stuvanti bhajanti archayanti tan prati jnani kritam agami punyam gacchati. He says all the punyam earned by the jnani, that they go to those people who actually revere the jnani, who actually worship the jnani, who take care of him, right? Stuvanti, bhajanti, archayanti. All three words I said. Stuvanti means sing the praises of the jnani. Then bhajanti, sing his glories. Then archayanti, do puja to jnani, like we do pada puja and all that for sannyasis, who visit our house and all that. We do pada puja for jnanis. So, gacchati. Then he says, ye jnaninam nindanti dvishanti dukkha pradhanam kurvanti. Those people who give trouble to the jnanis, right? Nindanti, they talk ill about the jnanis. Then dvishanti, they hate. They develop a hatred towards this jnani. And there are a lot of people, they don't like these sannyasis and these jnanis and all that. Lot of people, in fact, majority are like that only. That's why they never go in search of any guru and all that. They think they are their own gurus. They are capable of teaching the world. That is what they think. Many people think. So they don't have even that humility that I don't know something. If I don't know, I need to approach somebody and learn. That much is also not there. They are so arrogant and self-conceited people. Most people are like that. Again, because of all their past karmas only. So he says that those people, like, they will get all the papa karmas of the jnani. Okay. So tan prati jnani kritam sarvam agami kriyamanam yad avachyam karma papatmakam tad gacchati. So same, I don't need to go into the details of the individual words. Suhridaha punya krityam duhridaha papa krityam grihnanti. So the good people who actually respect and revere the jnani, all punya karmas go to them, and all people who actually abuse the jnani, all papa karmas go to them. So since jnani does not have an ego, in whatever way we treat them, a jnani is not going to respond either positively or negatively. This we must understand. It is not that if we ill-treat a jnani and he becomes angry and all that, and then he gives you a curse. May you become something and all that. Jnani, if he's a jnani, he will not do. If anybody does it, then he is not a jnani. You can take it. Very easy to differentiate between real jnanis and fake jnanis. So a jnani has no ego. You do anything to him, you praise him also, he is not bothered about it. You abuse him also, he is not bothered about it, and that is why he is a jnani. Right? But from our point of view, we have to be very careful whenever we relate to a jnani. So what it is saying is that whatever is said here, that the punya go to the noble people who respect the jnani, and papa goes to those who abuse, that should not be taken literally. The whole idea is that when there are jnanis, they are very rare people who have achieved something which is not commonly achieved by anybody. These are all exceptional people, and to come across a jnani in our life itself is a very great punya karma. Only we will come across a jnani. So for that purpose, by visiting a jnani, having a satsang with a jnani, having an association with a jnani itself is a punya karma for us. So that is being in a very figuratively said, jnanis punyas go to you. Actually, it's not jnanis punya. We earn punya because of that association with a jnani. And if we are going to ill-treat a jnani, why ill-treat a jnani? Ill-treat anybody, even when you ill-treat an animal or even a bird or anything, you will gain papa karma only. So that's that kind of a message, that you must do all good punya karmas always. And one of them, and the most important of them, from a Vedanta point of view, is association with a jnani. Because the more you associate with a jnani, there are chances that you will also become a jnani. You will get inspired by the jnani, and you will also study Vedanta and all that, and follow all the sadhanas, and you can become one of those exceptions which Krishna talks about in Bhagavad Gita. It is not everybody's cup of tea. So that is what is the message here. Okay. So stuvanti, bhajanti, archayanti, and all I have explained. So this is the idea which is being emphasized here. Suhrida punyakritam, duhrida papakritam grinanti. Those who worship and revere a jnani, and who can be called suhridaha. Suhrida means people with a good heart, a noble heart. Suhridaha. They will acquire the punyam, and those who hurt or ill-treat a jnani, they are called duhridaha. They will acquire the papa. So all this, for jnani, how the karmas, law of karma applies differently is what has been discussed till now. So before we go to the concluding sentences of this Tattva Bodha, we need to understand certain corollaries which we can derive from this law of karma. What is the takeaway for us practically? I mean, this is all fine, jnani, ajnani and all, but on a day-to-day basis for our lives, what should be our understanding, what should be our takeaway? This law of karma, as I told you, is unique for Vedic teaching. It is not there in any other religions. Only our Sanatana Dharma talks about this law of karma, which is very well, even Krishna also talks about this karmas, very elaborately in Bhagavad Gita. So it's a very significant to understand, and then understand the relevance of this law of karma for our day-to-day life. And that itself will give us a lot of mental relaxation. So the first corollary which we can derive from this is that every experience that we undergo in our life, whether it's a good experience or a bad experience, is because of our prarabdha karma. That much we can easily say, or it could be because of agami karma also, something right or wrong which we have done during this life, which has matured. Agami karma, some of them can mature in this life itself. So it is because of that, either agami karma, matured agami karma, or the prarabdha karma, all our experiences are related to good experiences, bad experiences in our life. So that means our own actions in the previous birth stroke S, births, right? Or actions done in the immediate past in the current birth, they are responsible for all our experiences. So if we understand that and internalize this knowledge, we will not blame any third person, any third circumstances, anything else for whatever we experience. Isn't it? Mostly that's what we do. Whenever we undergo a bad experience, we look for why I am having this experience, and we try to pin the blame on either a person or an object or a situation. But that situation, if it is coming to us, it is because of our own doing in the past, but that we don't even know and nor we acknowledge that. So anything that happens to us, we are the sole responsible entity for that. We must understand this very, very clearly. This is one of the most important corollaries of law of karma. Nobody else is responsible for what we either we experience in terms of happiness or sorrow. We alone are responsible for it. So if at all somebody has to blame, one has to blame oneself only. May not be this self in this birth, this self, this jiva in the previous birth, one has to blame. Because this jiva in the previous birth also did not have jnanam. It was also ajnani only. So as a ajnani, you would have done so many things. Who knows what all this jiva did in the... It might have been a part of Kaurava's army, Duryodhana's lieutenant, killing so many people, dharmic people who are on the side of Pandavas. So this jiva might have been there and then born in this Bhuloka, in the Kali Yuga. Then you will have to suffer all those consequences of that jiva, which you were in that past birth in the Dwapara Yuga. Isn't it possible? Nobody knows what you were previously. So that is one thing, right? So the past karta, doer, is the present bhokta experience. And both are one and the same jiva. This we must understand. Okay. Past me is responsible for the present me. So first corollary is we must stop blaming others in this world for all our experiences, all our bad experiences. This is the first corollary. The second important corollary of the law of karma is that if the past I is responsible for the present I, by the same token and extending that logic, we can say that the present I is responsible for the future I. Isn't it? We cannot correct the past. That is gone. Gone and joined the Sanchita bundle. Then that we'll have to suffer. Whenever that matures, we'll have to suffer. But we have an opportunity to correct the future I, guide the future I in the right path by using our free will, by doing all the right things in this life. Isn't it? Like there is no use grieving over the split milk, as they say, this spilt milk, as they say. No point in crying over it. But maybe it was our foolishness in the past, our ignorance in the past. We did so many things. But we can now concentrate on the present. And by doing so, we can very much influence our future, what it is going to be. control, direct, manage our future. We can do that. So, the law of karma's message is take responsibility for your future. Past you may be experiencing now, but future is in your hands. You take responsibility for your future. Don't take a fatalistic, philosophy. Oh, future, what I can do about it? You only said sanchita karma, prarabdha karma. There will be another bundle of sanchita karmas will be there. They will mature, and I will have to suffer. Not necessary. You can do a lot in this janma by having this knowledge of the law of karma in order to correct your future, or in order to add more credit balances, more punyas to your karma account, so that that can go and balance your papa account to a large extent. That is possible. That is in your hands right now. So what the law of karma says, as you alone were responsible for your past, you alone are responsible for your future also. Okay. And this is the problem with most people. They don't understand this. They believe in fatalism. Fatalism, law of karma doesn't talk about fatalism at all. There is nothing called fate. Fate is what you have designed for yourself. And then you blame fate and God, and Ishvara is doing this to me, God is doing that to me. I will not go to the temple. I will not pray to God and all that. Stupidity of the highest order. The fellow doesn't realize that he himself is the God and who has done all this thing to himself. This is what we have to understand from this law of karma. And they actually use this fatalistic argument to wash away their responsibilities. That's all. Nothing else. Anyhow, see, even Krishna says in the 6th chapter of Gita to Arjuna, Uddharet Atmanam Atmanam. He says, Arjuna, don't expect me to uplift you. You have to get up yourself and fight the war. I am here to give you advice, to guide you what is the right thing to do. But you have to use your free will to get up and fight the war. So even Lord Krishna, even though he could have done magic, he doesn't do, because he knows that all these Ajnani Jivas will have to take responsibility for their own future. So by doing all wrong things and then going to Tirupati and depositing some few lakhs of rupees in the Undial is not going to save you. If you think you can bribe Ishvara that way, it is foolishness again. I don't mean to say don't contribute to Undi. But if you are contributing, contribute with a selfless motive. I am giving this to Tirupati temple because they are into a lot of charitable activities, and let them use this my money, my donation for those charitable activities. That way you will get punya. But if you are going to give, I have actually looted so many people, and then out of that loot, hey Tirupati, I will give you 10% of that. If you have that attitude when you are putting that money in the undial, then don't worry, he will take the money and he will not do anything for you. So that much is there. Okay. So Bhagavan what he can do, he can actually, if he finds we are serious, he can create some circumstances for us. Look at our Sanchita Karma, okay, give him some good circumstance so that he can progress in that. He has got a serious intention to do some good. So let us give him an opportunity. That is the maximum Bhagavan can do. He can stand beside you like Krishna stood beside Arjuna. He cannot do anything for us. We have to do it ourselves. Okay. So the second corollary is we have to take charge of our life, and that too right from this moment onwards. Whatever we do, we have to be aware, conscious about what we are doing. And it's very easy for us to find out what is a good karma, what is a bad karma. We just need to apply the law of nature, and especially what is dharmic and what is adharmic karmas rather. And that dharma, adharma we get it from the nature only. If we study the nature, if we study the creation, if we study the cosmos carefully, the way the whole thing works, what makes this cosmos work in a very, very what I should say, create a constructive way, trying to sustain this whole life on wherever it is. That's all dharmic karmas. Anything which is destructive, adharmic karmas. So, from our point of view, limited as a human being, we can clearly study our Vedas also, study our scriptures, and find out what is dharmic and what is adharmic, because the whole scriptural literature is about this only. They're all, to do, not to do manuals, whether it is Vedas or Smriti Granthas or Itihasa Puranas, everything contains only these messages of what is dharma. Sometimes they do one, one message, one dharmic will be there, like Ramayana. Very simple. Pitruvakyam Paripalana. One karma. So all that, we have to understand, take charge of our life. So that is the second corollary. And the third corollary is, that's also important, rather. At any point in time, a person is experiencing either prarabdha karma or agami karma, isn't it? Agami phalam. That is the current karmas which has matured. The karmas done during this birth which have matured. So agami phalam, right? So the prarabdha karma is the result of a remote karta, the past karta, past doer. Agami karma is the result of a present doer. So these are two different entities. We must very clearly understand these two entities. Both are one and the same person only. The same jiva occupying a different body in the previous births did certain karmas and accumulated this punya papas. In this janma, this jiva has taken up this body and accumulating punya papas. Okay. So the remote karta has produced prarabdham, the current karta has produced agami. Now, what happens is, whenever we have experiences, we have a tendency to connect those experiences with the agami only. We totally forget or ignore the prarabdha aspect. And then we ask the question, see, that fellow, he is so corrupt and he is enjoying, a big bungalow, car, everything, very materialistic life he is enjoying. But he's a corrupt man. He has done so many murders and all that kind of thing. Question comes. Another side, the question comes is, this fellow is such a noble person, a simple person. He is suffering so much. Why God is doing all these things? But as I told earlier, this thinking is the result of connecting the wrong equation. Connecting the agami karta with the prarabdha karmas and connecting the prarabdha karta with the agami. When we do this cross connections is what we get confused thinking, rather. And we come to our own conclusion that Ishvara is very biased, he is very prejudiced, he favor, Ishvara, and then we continue with this argument. That fellow, he is such a corrupt person, he earns tons and tons of money to corrupt means, and because he goes to Tirupati and puts lot of money in the undial, God is saving him and giving him everything. Because I am a poor man, I don't have that much, I don't even train for it to go to Tirupati, God is punishing me. So everything, whatever they have done or not done, they transfer the whole thing to God. Whenever we look for a scapegoat for our suffering, the first scapegoat is Lord Ishvara only. If we don't find any other human being around, we will straight away go to God. This is wrong. We must understand this is not correct, because we are connecting two unconnectable things. The karta of the prarabdha karma and the karta of the agami karma being the same person but in different time periods. So that equation we must understand very well, that we must not connect these two. Agami karta, agami phalam, you can connect. Prarabdha karta, you have to suffer the prarabdham karma results in this life. And if you don't get jnanam in this life, there will be another life after this, and another round of prarabdham will visit, right? And even in, if you just look at Mahabharata, these Pandavas, they spent 13 long years in the forest. Most difficult, life they had. And Duryodhana, being a adharmic fellow, was enjoying as a king for all those 13 years that these people, the dharmic people, were suffering in the forest. And if we try to understand what we will do, see, if you follow dharma, you will suffer. If you follow adharma, you will enjoy. This is the conclusion we will all normally come to. And especially our children, if we don't teach them all these things, the nuances of this law of karma, they will definitely come to this. Already, they are not exposed to any of our scriptural knowledge at all. Over and above that, if they are faced with these circumstances where nobody is able to explain to them all these things, they will certainly come to wrong conclusions, and they will believe that adharmic karma can only give us good life, and they will start doing that. So not only for our own self, for the next generation also, it becomes very, very important for us to understand these principles and try to convey it to the next generation. This is how we must interpret the circumstances that we are faced with, right? So never make a wrong equation between karma phalam and the karta is the third corollary. And the fourth one is again another one interesting one, and that is, as I said, our experiences are in the form of either agami or prarabdha, right? The prarabdha punya papam is not known to us. That is just coming to us as and when they mature, rather. And that's why it is called adrishtam. Adrishtam means that which cannot be seen, which cannot be known. So either fortunately or unfortunately, because not knowing the prarabdham also is a very good thing many times. Because if we know what is going to come to us tomorrow or next month, we will actually, and if it is going to be something bad, like for example, if we knew that we are going to be struck by this corona for a period of 2 to 3 years, if we knew that in the year 2020 January, some of us will of course start preparing, but many of us would be depressed. Oh my God, I can't do anything about it. Even today, so many people are depressed because of this corona. So if we know at the individual level, what prarabdham experiences are going to confront us, we may actually lose our mental balance. So one way it is good that we don't know this prarabdham. Because even when we know it, we still go depressed. We go into depression. What if all those things are revealed to us? Okay. And whenever we get a good experience, we take that it's a good prarabdham or good, it's a punya. And if it's a painful experience, we say it's a bad prarabdham or papa. So this unknown prarabdha, we are unable to deal with it. We struggle. So as I said, even with what we know, so what to talk of, what we don't know. But the Shastra says that there are different methods for you to know what your prarabdham is. Okay, it's an interesting point. But the Shastra also says that it is preferable for you not to know it. Right? One method Shastra says of knowing the prarabdham is one's horoscope or jataka. Because the Shastra covers all aspects rather than this Jyotisha Shastram is one of the Angas of Vedas. So that is a very well developed Shastra, Jyotisha Shastram, and because of the Jyotisha Shastram, whenever we are born, depending upon the time of birth, place of birth, a horoscope can be made. There are charts, horoscope charts, right? So the prarabdham determines the position of the planets in that horoscope chart. That is how the whole thing gets connected with our current birth. We said Punya Papa are responsible for our current birth that we saw earlier. Now, in what way that is presented is through this horoscope chart. So all the planetary positions, they determine or they are placed in the horoscope chart. In fact, it is so complicated but so accurate that exactly at that time when the planetary positions are there in the respective position, you are born because of that prarabdha. Whole thing is interconnected. Okay. But we must understand, the planets do not cause the prarabdha. Planets do not cause the pleasure and pain. It is your own actions which are causing. Planetary positions are only indicative. They indicate what all you have done in your past birth. They don't cause any suffering. Planets don't cause suffering. Right? This is similar to a clock, Like when it is sunrise time, you have actually set the clock to 6 o'clock or whatever time it is. It is not that when it is 6 o'clock, the sun rises. 6 o'clock is an indicative time. In fact, there is nothing called sunrise. Sun is there only, but you start seeing the sun at 6 o'clock, what you have set the clock to. That does not mean that if the clock stops, the sun will not rise. So we must not make this wrong connection that the planets are responsible for all these things, We must not do that. Many of these people say, oh, this Mars is doing this, Chava dosham, this, that and all these Jyotishas and all say. The ill effects of that, I'll talk about it later, about prayers and all that. They can mitigate the ill effects to some extent, little extent. That's all. We'll see that later. But we must never ever connect that it is the planets, which is causing. I have got a very bad jatakam, very bad horoscope. I know that I'm going to suffer my whole life. This astrologer has told me. Astrologer has told you. He has just read your biodata and told you. Biodata is what you did in the last births. That is what you are going to now experience as your prarabdha karma. That is, we must understand that very well, right? So, what the Shastra says is that if you know, according to your horoscope, what your future prarabdham is going to be, then there is a method through which you can deal with it little bit in some way. First of all, we can create an agami which can try to neutralize or marginally neutralize that prarabdha, right? As I told you, if there is a papa karma, earn punya karma and try to neutralize the papa karma, right? It's just like, trying to carry an umbrella during rains when we go out. It may not be raining, but you carry an umbrella so that when it rains, you can use the umbrella. Similar like that. Or in sun, heat, when there is sun is blazing, carry an umbrella. By carrying your umbrella, the sun is not going to stop. That is going to blaze only. But what you can do, you can protect yourself a little bit with that shade of that umbrella. Now, that is how we have to understand. Prarabdham will not change, but the effect of the prarabdham on you may be little bit neutralized. Okay. partially, you can say, right? And this process is called Prayaschitta Karma in the Shastras. So the question will be now, oh, if there is something called Prayaschitta Karma, can Prayaschitta Karma neutralize everything, all my prarabdha? I will immediately do whatever Prayaschitta is required to be done so that I don't suffer any painful experiences because of my prarabdha. This will be everybody's reaction, right? So everybody will be eager to know what is the category of papa and what is the Prayaschitta for that. Please give me the list of papas and Prayaschitta so that I can do all those things. So for this question, there is a counter question. And that is, do we have medicines for all diseases? Or do medicines cure the diseases? The answer will be depends upon what type of a disease you are talking about, isn't it? If you are talking about a mild headache or something like that, then probably you can take some aspirin tablet or some, mild fever, paracetamol, whatever it is, like we do. We are now taking after taking this corona vaccination. Even there, when we take this aspirin and all, the headache is not gone. You stop feeling the pain of the headache, isn't it? Doctor ji, am I right? Yeah. So what happens is, if the prarabdha is like that, it will be there, but by doing the prayaschitta karma, the effect of that prarabdha on us will not be felt much. So this is one type of prarabdha, which is a very mild prarabdha, but it is still the papa karma only, and if you have not done the prayaschitta karma, it will give you its full effect. But because of the prayaschitta karma, you have taken aspirin tablet in the form of prayaschitta karma, so its effects will be less. Now there is another type of disease, like for example, let us take diabetes. What is the prayaschitta karma for diabetes? For diabetes, they say that it's a silent killer and it could be fatal and all that. But if you ask a doctor, he will say that you can manage with this diabetes till your long life, but up to 80 years, 90 years and all, provided you do following things. Focus on your lifestyle, make lifestyle changes, focus on your diet, focus on your physical exercises, focus on regularly taking the medicines, checking your blood sugar and all the parameters regularly. All these things the doctor will do. These are all the prayaschitta karmas to manage diabetes. By doing all this, the diabetes will not go away. The sugar will be still there. You eat one rasagulla, it will shoot up only. But what will happen is, you can manage and live with diabetes throughout the life. Diabetes will be there, the prarabdha karma will be there, but if we do all these prayaschittas in terms of what all I just said, then we can manage diabetes without it creating too much problem for us. Eventually, it may, if we neglect it, if we don't do any prayaschitta karma, certainly it is going to give its full effects in terms of kidney failure, retinal detachment, then gangrene setting in your legs and things like that, and it will have a full effect will be there. But if you do these prayaschitta karmas, like what I said, the regimen, then the effect of that will still be there, but you can manage, you can learn to live with that. Then the third kind of disease is like the capital C disease. Whatever you do, you can only to some extent reduce the pain of that disease. And in fact, sometimes the prayaschitta karma that you do in terms of medication or radiation therapy or chemotherapy and all those kind of things may be more painful than the pain of the disease itself. So there, whatever prayaschitta karmas that you do will not be enough, because prabala prarabdha, it is so strong. It will not allow you to do anything. And even if you do all those things, it will take its own course, and it will not bother for whatever you are doing. For your own satisfaction, you may do all these things. But that is how it is. So whenever we talk about prayaschitta karma, doing prayaschitta karma to counter the effect of the prarabdha, we must understand it in this context. There are some karmas, some papa karmas which you can manage to live with, or rather you can make yourself immune to the effect of that by doing some prayaschitta karmas. Some of them do the karmas continuously, but those prayaschitta karmas, like a regimen of the diabetes patient, throughout your life you have to do it. Or why diabetes? Blood pressure. Blood pressure also come along with diabetes, hypertension. So that there is separate regimen for that you do along with that, So you can learn to live without being very, very miserable experiences. Just manage and all. It will still be there. Good conversation point in senior citizens groups. In fact, in senior citizens, when we are working, we are young and working and productive age, the discussion between professionals is how much you are earning, what is the wealth that you have created, how much stock market you have invested, and all that. In the senior citizen groups, the discussion is what is the, do you have diabetes? What medicine you are taking for diabetes? Do you have this? Oh, you have knee pain. What are you doing about knee pain? I did this for my knee pain. They don't talk about all wealth and all that, because that's all past. So like that, in this, like a senior citizen group, they have to live with all these things, all the pains, back pain, knee pain, diabetes, migraine. Migraine, of course, youngsters also are having these days. So this is how, we learn to live with it. Then the third kind, whatever you do, we hear of cases. He was having hypertension. In fact, my own previous boss in Kuwait, 52 years old guy. He was, having, regular, all bosses will have hypertension, if not anything else, because the stressful job that they do. And regular, he was to go to gym and all that and do that. He was actually in the treadmill, he was jogging on the treadmill, collapsed and died there. So what Prayaschitta Karma did? He did everything that what doctors told him to manage his hypertension. An unfortunate incident was that his family, his wife and daughter, had that very day flown to UK. They were in the flight when this fellow died. So the people in the gym and all that who actually, wanted to inform them, they could not inform the family till they landed in UK. So this is the prabala prarabdha. You can't do anything about it. You have done whatever you have done, but when the time comes, if it is a prabala prarabdha, it will show its true colors, whatever you have done. Right when you are doing the prayaschitta karma itself, it will take away your life. So this is how we have to understand. So the fourth corollary we must understand about this is that a weaker prarabdha, through prayaschitta karma, it will cure. Intermediary prarabdha, it will help to manage. A very powerful prarabdha, it may help to alleviate the pain to a little extent, but it will have its own course, and you can't do any prayaschitta karma for that. So this is the fourth corollary. And this very prayaschitta karma is what we many times refer to as a prayer. Right? When it is specific for a particular karma phala, it is called a parihara. If it is general, it is called a prayachita or a prayer, general prayer. That's what we do always. We are told that you keep praying means the prayer is what? Whatever my prarabdha karma is going to bring to me, oh Lord, please make those circumstances conducive for me either to neutralize them or to face them, accept them with equanimity. That this is my own doing. I have to suffer the consequences. I cannot blame anybody. So this is the prayer. Now, one of the students, when maybe a couple of months earlier, had actually requested me to talk about prayers. What is the effect of prayers? Are they really effective? And because whenever somebody is sick or something, we are asked to pray. We are asked to chant the Mrityunjaya mantra and all that. We did that for Swami Omkaranandaji also when he was in the hospital. But still, all these prayers was of no use. He attained samadhi. That was his prabala prarabdha. So in that context, that one of the students had asked, so I thought that I will briefly touch upon. It's a very vast topic rather, but I will, whatever little bit I know, I will share it with you. We will discuss that in the next class, and then we will also try to finish this in the Tattva Bodha in the next class. Okay, and now I'll say the prayers for today's class. Om Purnamada Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you very much, all of you. I finished a couple of minutes earlier because if I get into another topic, it will go on. Only thing is, I will try to finish in the next class, the Tattva Bodha. But normally in the tradition, after finishing the text, we do a summary of the text. So if you are all interested in a summary, what all we have learned, I mean, it will be sort of a one talk, covering all that. If you are interested, we can actually, if the time doesn't permit in the next class, we can have some short session on the 18th. 18th, no, 17th. Short session on the 17th. Then I can just give you a summary right from the first, Sadhana Chatushtaya, what all we have learned. I can give you a summary if you are interested. So please let me know if there is an interest in such a summary.
Very good.
Otherwise, if you are all taken enough notes and all that, we don't want any summary. We have got elaborate notes. That also is.
Definitely want summary.
Okay, then we'll see.
Summary is always useful.
Yeah. I will try to do that in the next class. I mean, if you are able to finish, but then it may probably take about half an hour. So in the first half an hour, if I am able to finish the Tattva Bodha, then the second half we can devote. In case it's not possible, then we will have a small session on 17th. That 24th, I'm starting Bhagavad Gita. So before that, I wanted to finish this.
I have a small suggestion.
Yeah.
If in the next class, if instead of sticking to 1 hour, even if we make it 1 hour and a half.
I have no problem. If you are all okay with that, we can finish the next class. And then whatever time it takes to complete the summary, we can complete it and then close it. I'm absolutely okay with it.
Yes.
That's a good suggestion.
Absolutely
Very good
wonderful.
suggestion. We can do that. Yeah. I have no problem. I can do
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. Very good. So any questions?
Guruji, one question, please.
Yeah.
This planetary positions, horoscope, or you can say the actions, is it a closed loop system? In the sense, are your actions judged or governed by the planetary positions of your horoscope?
No. Your planetary positions are only indicative of what you could expect in future or what you have undergone. See, that is why if you go to the astrologers, they will never, or they will be very hesitant to tell anything about future. And even if they say that will be very vague, past they will say a lot of things correctly rather. But future, they'll be vague. Because what will happen is, the prarabdha karma also keeps on evolving. Like, for example, they can't see everything in the planet, even though planetary positions contains everything. Unless one has studied the Jyotisha Shastra thoroughly rather, to interpret, because it's all mathematical rather, because the whole astronomy is a mathematical science rather. So you must have that kind of a, intellectual capability to connect all those things. Because one thing adjusted here, the calculation may go wrong somewhere else. So all that correlations one needs to actually, do. Honestly speaking, I attended one week course on a introduction to Jyotisham. I got totally confused. I couldn't make head or tail of it. Even though the teaching was very good, and I have the notes also with me, whatever that was given during that 1 week course. But even when I go through the notes, I can't make head or tail of it, because this is connected to this, but that is connected to this, and this is this, and all that. So many permutation combinations you come across. One needs to be really an expert in doing that. But all that they can do is, the planetary positions can indicate what type of problems or karmas you are likely to face in this life from the time
encounter,
until the end. But they don't determine it. Determination is your own karmas. So our focus should not be in the horoscope. Our focus should be in our karmas, what we are doing now.
True, but are they not interdependent?
They are interdependent for the next birth, because you can't change your horoscope, because that was based upon.
No, I agree.
Yeah, they are
cannot change
your. Exactly, your next birth horoscope will be a much better horoscope if you do a lot of good karmas. True, interdependent only. Very true. Okay. It is just like, like the clock which I gave the example. In India, you will set the clock to a certain time. When you take the same clock to US, you will set it to a different time, right?
Different time, correct.
At the end of the day, the clock is not determining the time. Clock is only indicating what the time is at that place.
On that
where
place,
you are going. Similarly, horoscope indicates what you have done in your past. That is matured prarabdha karmas. What are they? And they planets' positions are there, and at that time you are born. Because birth is a result of the horoscope, planetary positions. Planetary positions don't determine when you are, when you are born. Planets don't go and stop, in their respective positions. So your birth is the crucial thing which determines. In fact, it's both ways. When the planets are in those positions, you are born to give effect to all the prarabdha karmas.
No, does it mean no two person will have the same horoscope? Planetary position wise.
Yes, I mean, actually speaking, it is said, I don't know how far it is true. I have heard from one of the Swamijis, no two persons are born at the same time. There is always a few seconds difference at least between two people born. And this is what I was told. I'm not sure that, it's only somebody who has in the nursing home can confirm whether that happens or not. Two children born exactly at the same time, right to the last second. I don't know. But from a point of view of horoscope, we can say that no two persons will have the same horoscope, even if they are born at the same time.
Same time.
Yes.
No, exact latitude, longitude, they consider various things, no?
So many things. Your place of birth is there.
Yes.
So many things are there. So all those things, they will determine that. It's a very vast and very deep science rather, this horoscope.
No, these are all then linked to the past karma, in other words.
It's all linked to the past karma.
Thank
but
you, Guruji.
According to me, these horoscopes are very true.
Okay.
Yeah, my own personal experiences. I can relate 2-3 experiences in life when things have really happened, when things were predicted. I'll just give you one example. My father, he died in 1998. right?
Coincidence. My father also
Okay.
died in 1998.
So after he died, I was going through his papers. Normally, any son will do all papers, everything. Then I came across one piece of paper, which was a notebook paper, small notebook, children's exercise book.
Understood. Yeah.
It was there, and it was a single page written in pencil in Malayalam.
Okay.
Something 1-2 paragraphs in Malayalam. On the back of that, the translation of that in Tamil somebody has done. I can't read Malayalam, but I can read Tamil. So I read that. You know what was said there? In the year 1965, we had all gone, when I was 12 years old, 65, we had gone to Palakkad for my uncle's marriage. So my father, of course, he had a lot of difficulties in his job and things like that and all. And, normally economically challenged family rather. So anybody who has all these troubles will what to do? Go to a astrologer, show the the horoscope. So apparently my parents have gone there, met the astrologer and shown the horoscope. Then the astrologer, he was a blind astrologer. He was in the village of my mother's village, blind fellow. So he can't read. So what are his son, he used to tell him the planetary position. So then with that, he will predict. Then in that first paragraph, generally he has told his name, the person who is horoscope, his name will start with Rama's name. My father's name was Ramaswamy. Okay. So all that things, but that somebody could have told him also that so-and-so is coming, is Ramaswamy is coming. So, but the second paragraph was what actually caught my eye. It said that the children of this person, this horoscope holder, will settle in a place called Chembur in Mumbai. 1965 he has written in that. I've got that piece of paper even now with me. They will settle in a place called Chembur in Mumbai, and this horoscope holder will also die in Chembur. He has written this. And I came to Bombay in the year 1991, 92 in fact. 91 was temporary, permanently shifted in 92. And I was totally new to Bombay. And I found a house in Chembur on rent, and we started staying in Chembur. And after that, after my retirement of my father, whenever he used to come, he will not stay with me for a long time. He had nothing to do. He was in Delhi, nothing to do. He will immediately, 1 month or something, he will go away. Then finally in 98, they came, my father and mother came. And one fine day, my father had a serious prostate problem. His prostate glands burst and he passed loads of flood in the urine. So I immediately rushed him to the hospital. And in the hospital, they said that, we will have to do the surgery and we will have to send this is also for malignancy test, whether it is malignant or not. Fine, they did that. They actually gave local anesthesia. They didn't give full anesthesia. They know that what they call some anesthesia. They give spinal anesthesia or something like that. And apparently what the doctors were discussing and all, my father could hear all that, right? So, but whatever it is, then he was discharged. He came home. Within 3 days, he says, I want to go to Delhi. I said, what are you talking? You just had a serious major surgery. What are you going to go and do in Delhi? He said, I don't want to listen to any argument. Are you going to escort me back to Delhi or not? Otherwise, I will go on my own. And you ask your mother whether she is willing to accompany me or she wants to stay with her son. Dialogue, filmy dialogue. Then I told my mother, you see, this is making my life difficult. If you people go to Delhi, of course, my brother was there in Delhi, so he can take care. So, but then he was so insistent, then ultimately I took them to Delhi and then, dropped them there. Within 6 months, actually this happened in 97, within 6 months he passed away, in 98 he passed away. Why I am saying all this thing is, probably he knew that his death will come in Chembur. Because he knew that prediction of the astrologer. He wanted to defy death. He ran away from Chembur. But still, the prarabdham will not leave. Wherever you go, it will chase you. So 2 points are there. Prarabdham chasing you. Another point is, in 1965, Chembur was not even a recognized suburb in Bombay. The only thing in Chembur was there was a RCF factory and a few bungalows were there. The whole place was a jungle in 65. And this astrologer, on the basis of the planetary positions of my father, has predicted that his children will settle in Chembur, and that happened. So I personally have got a very great faith in astrology, provided the astrologer is a true astrologer. There are a lot of hanky-panky astrologers who will tell you what you want to hear to make money. So I normally don't go to them. In fact, I don't go to any astrologers also.
How about palmistry?
Palmistry also, that see, it will take a long time. I have another experience about palmistry also. You know, when I was working in central government, I had a colleague. So one day what happened was, he was seeing, we were talking and I was just as usual shaking my hands and all that. He saw my palm. If you all see my palm, if it is, you can see a straight line here.
Yes, yes.
Very rare line. Most people will not have this straight line. Okay. Now the beauty is, if you see my left hand, that also has got a straight line.
Straight line, correct.
Both the hands having a straight line is a very, very rare occurrence.
Rare.
And this person who was my colleague in the ministry, his father, 80-year-old father, was a palmist, it seems. But he has now left everything. He doesn't do, he become old and older, retired and all that. But he said that my father now goes through palmistry only for research purposes. And your hand, palm being one of the very rare palms which I have come across, can you come to my house and show your palms to my father? Okay. So I said, I have no problem. I'm on my own, I will not do that. But since you are requesting, I can come. So he said that I will check with my father and then let you know. So he checked with his father. Father said, okay, let him come. Then he said that you ask him to come along with his horoscope. Okay, so I told him my horoscope is a South Indian. He said that's not a problem. He will convert it into North Indian horoscope. He was a North Indian. He was a Sharma. So I went to their house on a Sunday morning. The father was doing puja, old man. He came and then he asked me to sit down and talk. Then he first asked me to show my horoscope. Horoscope he saw. Then he saw my palms. Then he told me, your horoscope matches what is your palm readings are. First thing he told me, they are both matching. Then he said, I will ask you some questions, you please answer. He said that when you were born, was your mother in deathbed? I was surprised. In my family, only 3 of us knew that. My mother, my father and myself. I don't think my mother has told about that incident even to my brother. She was in deathbed. He was being treated for a false jaundice case by a doctor in Kerala, and he was giving her all sorts of medicines and all that, and she was about to die. It was, a fate that saved him. So this first question he asked. Then, of course, 2-3 more questions he asked him. In this age, did you undergo any change and all that? Then he said everything is fine. Now you want to ask something, you ask. Those days, I was actually appearing for my IAS examinations. I was very serious to get into IAS. Like day and night, I will study and do all that kind of thing, even though I was working, still I was studying. I asked him that I am appearing for my civil services. Will I get through? And bluntly, he told, you will not get through civil services. Straight away, he said. But he said, you will become a covenanted officer. I said, what? Covenanted officer? I have never heard that word in my life. Covenanted officer, right? So, but I didn't show my ignorance in his friend. I said, okay, thank you. And I came away. I went home straight away, took the Oxford dictionary and find out what is the meaning of covenanted. It says covenanted means appointed by the king or a queen, a royal appointment. Right? Covenanted. I thought, yeah, I am in India, democracy, a republic. Where is the question of any queen, king, and things like that? And then I thought maybe I will get a job in Bhutan or Sikkim because there only kings are there. India, there is no king. So I was just saying, what is this fellow has done? And this happened in the year 1978, 77, 78. I forgot about it. Okay. Then in the year 1991, all along then from central government, I joined Canara Bank. And, that the president, that Canara Bank also is public sector rather. It's not even a presidential appointment. So even that way also, you cannot say it's a covenanted this thing. So then after that in 1991, I joined Standard Chartered Bank in India. And I got the appointment letter or offer letter. No, sorry, appointment letter. You know what was the first sentence? You are hereby appointed as a covenanted officer in Standard Chartered Bank. Can you imagine? I had forgotten that word covenanted, but when I saw that, the whole scenario opened up before me. My God, in 1978, the very same that astrologer has used for me, that I will become a covenanted officer, and here is a proof of that. I showed my wife. I said, see, this is what that fellow told. So it is possible even to predict all these things. And why covenanted Standard Chartered Bank? Because Standard Chartered Bank was formed by a charter of Queen of England. That is why it is called Chartered Bank. And all officers in Standard Chartered Bank were covenanted officers. They were at the service of the Queen. That is the why they are called covenanted officers. So what I'm saying is, these are all my personal experiences in my life with astrology, palmistry, and all that. I hold them in very high esteem, provided the person practitioner is really a genuine practitioner, like a Jnani Vedanti, not some Ajnani fellows. Anyway, I hope I have entertained you all and deprived you of a chance to ask questions. But still, I'm open. You can ask questions.
Yes, no. Very nice, very interesting.
Yeah. Like that, there are many other cases also. Rather, it will take a long time if I tell you all my personal experiences about astrology and palmistry. Some other time, maybe.
Thank you very much, Guru.
Yes,
very
you.
interesting.
Thank
you.
I'll see you next Saturday.
Hari Om.
Thank you very much. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.